Aloha Manga Club. Today I want to talk about the things that hold your collection together. That is right. Let's talk about bookshelves this very day. Now you might be asking yourself, Lo Hali, what makes you an expert in the subject? Well, I'm not fully an expert, but what I do have is a very particular set of skills. Part of those skills is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bookcases in my house right now, which is not a lot. I've had multiple bookcases when I was a small child. I have also built things like this. Yes, I know, seductive, is it not? But I want to talk about some very important things when it comes to bookcases overall. One, let's talk about the material that it's made out of now. What is exceedingly popular right now, especially with one 4-letter brand, is using MDF or moderate density fiber to create basically a press board for your shelves. Now, what this does is it does not make a super strong structure. It's actually relatively cost effective, but you get a bowing and then this happens. Yeah, that's right. Tape rolls down your shelves. I don't know where it comes from. It just appears and it happens. But an even bigger problem can happen because of that. The MDF can actually start to fold, bend, and break, causing your shelves to not be quite as strong and putting your collection at risk. Now, there are a few things to consider when you are deciding to go with that. One, if you're doing your shelves and you put them a little bit higher up so you have less of a gap and they hold less weight, that's not going to make as much of a difference. But if you're doing something much like myself, where I try to stack as many books on a shelf as I can because I like the way it looks, you need to start thinking about solid wood options. And one of the most popular is poplar. God, that was a terrible pun. I am sorry. But the difference between an MDF and a solid board is the fact that the fibers are all ingrained together, creating a very strong and rigid structure. Now, that might seem a little bit weird because why would they be selling you something that they know is not the strongest? Again, the price is the biggest difference because poplar, oak, hardwood is expensive and it does not have quite the elasticity or the bend of the MDF. So you're getting something that's a lot stronger and a little harder, but you can also modify it yourself. And that is really important when it comes to talking about bookshelves. And again, I have had quite a lot. The very first one that I owned when I moved down to Kansas City is actually sitting in my friend Cameron's house. That's right here. This bookshelf I found on the side of the road, and it was a solid piece of furniture. In fact, I could stand on those shelves and they wouldn't even bend. They wouldn't bend, they wouldn't break because they were strong and made out of one solid piece of board. Each shelf was just that individual piece that you could slide in. Now, the thing that I really like to talk about when it comes to these boards bending and breaking is also the length of the shelf. Now, if you have a longer shelf, the tension all the way through is going to require a lot more. Basically, think of a longer lever. The longer that it is, the more weight that it's going to hold, and the more likely that the center is not going to be supported, so it's going to break. The shorter the bookcase is, the less likely this thing is to snap. In fact, if you were to take a look at these shelves right here, they are MDF, but I am actually fairly confident that they will never break on me unless I specifically take them out, put a little nick in them, and try to stomp them with my face. That's called a headbutt. Whereas these longer shelves, especially this guy right here, as again you can see with the tape demonstration, is bent, and that is partially due to the length of the product itself. Stay. There are a few ways that you can set up your bookcases. One, you can go with a pre-made like this from a store. Most likely, the most budget-conscious and friendly ones are going to, again, be that MDF. The MDF is always very brightly done. It has a veneer across the top hiding all those fibers. In fact, if you take a look at the back side of one of my shelves, you're going to see that you can see these individual fibers pressed together. These shelves are relatively inexpensive. They hold your manga decently well, and they're a great way to get kick started. But if you want to start to level up the way that your collection looks, there's a few different ways that you can go. One is having an adjustable rail system along your walls. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this because it is a massive monetary investment and they aren't quite as strong. In fact, in my opinion, the fact that you have these runners along the wall, you have to be so much more careful with how you place things, because if A, they're not on a stud, or B, your arms are spread out too far, your shelf is either going to break, even if you do go with a more solid wood, because again, that tensile strength as it goes longer is a lot harder and you need that bracing in the middle, or it's just going to pop away from the wall and your entire collection is just going to be hanging there, dangling, crying, because you did not care enough about it. I'm joking, you obviously cared about it because you put an investment in and you built your own shelves. But what would my recommendation be? Well, this is going to be a little bit more time consuming for you, but I think you're going to get a little bit something more out of it, and that is building your own bookcases. One, you can decide the look, the length, the height. Every single thing about this is going to be a little bit better, and actually it might be an investment, but as you start to learn and grow, you can start to build more and more complicated shelves. In fact, that's how my father started off with the cabinetry businesses. He just started doing different experiments and making different things, and it's kind of a fun project to do. Now, I will say there are a few more considerations with bookshelves, and that is, what do you do with the doors? Do you want to keep your bookshelf safe from maybe the sunlight, or your cats marking their territory, or just grubby little fingers coming up and trying to do their thing all across the books? Well, here's the thing that you can do. One, you can invest in some doors. Now, I am not the biggest fan of doors. I'm going to be honest, I do not like the look of glass case doors across my books. I don't think that it's a bad decision, it's just not something that I am comfortable with. Another thing that you could do is you can grab some curtains and tack curtains across the very top and give it some nice drapes. Now, one thing that this might do is attract your cats to claw all over it, because they're kind of clawy, bitey little punks. I love my cats, don't worry. But that's one way that you can go. Again, you could even do some cardboard. I don't know why you do that. It looked kind of weird, but you could do that overall. Now, what kind of shelving do you have? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more manga and anime related content. And for everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy, Lohali, and I'll see you next video.